of course, health comes first, and outdoorsy, fresh air, vital for, you know, a human being. Face-to-face connection is literally how we survive. Hence why pandemic really, you know, caused us to suffer greatly. I completely agree with you. But I think we need to understand how much energy are we putting in sentimental factor, and how much energy are we putting in, okay, place limits and boundaries. All right, cool, buddy. 1 hour on the weekend. Yalla, let's go. What parents are doing these days is, okay, 1 hour. Okay, you're done. Get off. All right, just go do something. Okay, but what is there to do? We live in Dubai 9 months of the year. It's hot. You know, what I'm suggesting is look at the era we're living in. Leave the hate at the door and start being creative. Do you want your kids to get off technology?
Give them
Be
something
with
else
them.
to do.
Be with them, because here's the thing: when we can keep comparing, and my parents, bless them, my best friends, they're amazing. They are part of the minority of Arab mentality. They were way ahead of their times, really emotionally intelligent. However, they did not spend a lot of time with us. They were busy surviving war, right? They hardly played with me. I don't even remember them reading me a book or whatever. That is something we are doing more of these days. And we're also simultaneously hating it. We're like, oh, but, you know, I grew up not having a book read to me. Okay, so you can't be hating it and also doing it, and also at the same time wishing your kid did it for themselves. You've got to choose where your stance is, because your kids are absorbing all of this.
Welcome, Maysaa. Maysaa Fahour, parent coach.
Hey.
Help us all. Help. Okay, where do you want to start? Because what you've done is very smart. A friend of mine who said the business, he's an entrepreneur, and he said, if I'm going to choose any business, it's something that everybody needs or something everybody has. And everybody has kids and everybody needs help. So very smart move there, putting yourself right there where it's like a commodity, like a wild thing that's never going to change, right?
Yeah.
Like you will never run out of clients.
I mean, that's one way to look at it, but I definitely didn't start.
That's the Lebanese way to look at it.
Right, the Lebo way. I didn't start off with that intention. The idea came to me in March 2020, right at the start of the pandemic, when we were all suddenly with our kids at home. And I was using my coaching practice and, you know, knowledge, as well as my teaching knowledge, to help people get through living 24/7 with your child. And then I thought, why don't I just put little snippets on Instagram? And boom, it just kind of went viral from there.
So it was insane, the pandemic.
It was.
Even more insane having kids. Having kids is just crazy anyway. I mean, me as a person, it changed me so much. Like more so this time around, because like I told you, I have a 21-year-old and the 2 twins now. They taught me patience in a way that I didn't quite think that I had. And I don't know if it was a case of I was more willing to learn patience now than I was then. But the experiences that they both had was completely different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's common.
Do you feel like as we get older, we're more open to kind of this style of parenting, which is the style of parenting today?
Yeah, like generally speaking, that's what I find. But in saying that, humans are not, you know, parents are not created biologically to spend 24 hours a day with your kid.
Yeah.
We weren't designed for that, you know, from a psychological point of view, from a physical point of view, from every point of view. You're supposed to have time apart and then time back together, and there's supposed to be a village. So the pandemic really caused us all to be together a lot more than usual, which is where you start to see people's flaws and faults and, oh, I didn't know my child was behind in literacy. And so suddenly parents started to adopt a teacher role. And you're not your kid's teacher. Your kid's teacher's their teacher. You're the parent. You've got a different sort of role. And we would hope healthy humans, as they get older, gain more and more patience, you know, gain more regulation. You know, fun fact, the executive part of your brain is formed at an age that people are always surprised about. Do you want to have a guess?
Yeah. The executive part?
Yeah, so this front part of your brain, which is responsible for, here we go, let's list them: logic, patience, morality, values, reasonable decisions. This part right here behind your forehead. It's fully developed by a particular age. Give me a number.
19.
25.
Wow.
So when your 5-year-old is having a tantrum because they want another cookie and you're like, dude, you just had 2, it's not going to work because that part of the brain is literally not on. It's non-existent. We have to try to access a different part of their brain, of their temperament, to get them to, listen or get them to move along, rather than what parents do is this power struggle. So you've got a kid, let's just use the cookie example. You've got a kid going, but one more. And you've got a parent, no, you've had 2. You haven't had dinner. Do you know that cookies rot your teeth? No. All of the things the parents just said is logic, reasoning. It's literally things that adults usually say to each other. But let's be real, even adults don't have
an extra cookie, right? Yeah.
So why do we do this to kids? Oh, and you need to eat your carrots and your broccoli and your cauliflower and your beans. All right, which adult is doing that as well? So we'll go back to the cookie thing, and then the kid's like, I don't care. And the parent goes to, oh, you're being disrespectful. And now we've gone to another executive part of the brain, which is respect. Kids don't.
Which they still don't understand. They didn't understand the first part, and then you're bringing them to another part you want them to understand.
Exactly.
You didn't fix the first miscommunication issue first, and now you're on the third one.
Spot on.
Yeah.
And so, bang, we get into a power struggle. A power struggle in parenting is when your kid's being a kid and the parent is being a kid.
Okay.
When the parent's being a kid, then that's 2 kids fighting. And when 2 kids are fighting, it's not going to end well, because you're not going to get through to anybody. The parent needs to break the link, break the cycle of that immature kind of discussion and rise above it. Whether it's time out, take a breath, walk away, give the cookie, come up with another idea. I don't really care what you do, but you've got to rise to maturity.
Yeah, I think I'm really actually enjoying trying to parent differently now.
Nice.
Trying different things out and seeing what works and not. I understand what you're saying, because it's kind of funny. In the animal kingdom, lions and tigers and everything, they have their babies, and 2 weeks later they're like, all right, go. You're
Go
on your
hunt.
own. Go figure it out, kind of thing. Like, I've had enough, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think, okay, I want to break things down in a few ways, because obviously we're Arabs.
Yeah.
So we're a different animal when it
Tell
comes to parenting.
Yeah, for sure.
I had the la.
Yeah.
Why? Because I said so.
Yeah.
And I think that's dangerous, because you
Yeah.
kind of teach them that an adult speaking is the be all and end all. And that's quite dangerous when the adult isn't the parent, because then who else can tell them something and they cannot answer back, or they cannot question it, because it's the adult and that's it. That's the final word. So I kind of don't do the whole no thing now. As hard as it is, but it's like I've started to enjoy knowing different ways to do things and different ways to deal with things, and that whole kind of like angry stuff, that's where the patience thing is where I've started to learn, especially when I solve something without having to use anger or without having to use that, and I'm like, ooh, that one worked, so what else can work?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. So that's called problem solving. That's called creativity. And it requires your brain to go to that executive part so that you can get curious. I say that word so often, but it helps so much with children. Getting curious about what the problem is exactly, because something I often say a lot is there's always a story behind the story. Your kid is not sharing their red car for a reason. It's not because they're selfish and greedy and bratty and all the other stuff parents say, ungrateful. Your kid's not sharing it because sharing is an executive part of the brain. And for children, they can't grasp when their belonging is not in their hands, that it's still theirs. They can't grasp that. Similar to if I grabbed your phone or your most prized possession. I mean, we're adults now. We're pretty okay with understanding, okay, even though I'm holding your phone, it's still yours. But something you really, really love. Yeah. And if I've got it with me, you're going to be like, oh, is she going to look after it? This is really special to me. Children are that times a million. Yeah. So sharing doesn't come naturally to them because they got no idea how to relax. And the way we help them get through that is to give them some safety. So 2 ideas might be, if something is really important to them and they've got a play date coming up, listen, I think your friend's going to love to play with your red car. Like, should we put it away, or do you want me to stand right next to you like a security guard? Like, I'll make sure that it's safe. And another idea that you could do is to practice. Okay, we're going to practice. Ready? I'm going to be the friend.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the friend and let's play. I want this, you know, doing those role
yeah.
plays. Kids love that and they get better and better at it.
Prevention's better than the cure, right?
That's it. Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
exactly.
So I think it's kind of strange that you say that because, so I have twins. Nightmare.
Lovely.
Beautiful thing. It's
Lovely.
not a nightmare. I'm lying. I just say that to make other people feel comfortable.
Oh,
It's like, they're like my best friends.
amazing.
One of them
Yeah.
has always been really good with sharing. So
Yeah.
Noah prides himself in sharing since he was like 3. If we were out in the playground and he saw a kid that was a bit younger or a kid that didn't have something, he would take his toys and be like, you can play with it. Do you know what I mean? So I think some people just have that built in.
Yeah.
And you don't have to work with it as much as that. Like even when we gave, so I did this thing where I was like, listen, my house is full of toys and I can't deal with this anymore because there's too many, you don't play with them. So I was like, listen boys, what we're going to do, there's a lot of children out there that don't have toys, and in the Philippines we're going to send it back with the nanny. So let's choose all the toys that you think they'll like, kind of thing. And they literally, like my wife came home and she was like,
where are the toys?
there's 4 toys left in the house. And we had hundreds. And they were pretty happy to kind of give them away, knowing that there was a reason for it, as opposed to just being like, we're getting rid of these now. And what was the point that I was making? Yeah,
Like
so
different temperaments.
so
of
yeah,
children?
so in the beginning, the other one was like, but they're mine. Well, I don't want to share them. But he kind of very quickly grasped that. So like you were saying, I think it's if you kind of practice with them or give them a good enough reason that they don't feel like, I just want to take it because you got too much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You bring up a good point because temperaments is something that I stand by when I'm parenting. I've got 4 kids, all different ages, all different temperaments. And excuse me. So I'm forever kind of molding myself to them. It's not the other way around. So if we touch on the Arab thing, the migrant thing, the Southeast Asian kind of parent, we have to remember that for them, it was a hierarchy. Mum and dad up the top and children are below them. What we're starting to learn is that model produces rebels, people pleasers, and people filled with angst. Because hello, look at us.
Yeah.
Like we're doing well now with a lot of, you know, self-help and therapy. But generally speaking, the hierarchy model is based on fear. And what we know from research is fear teaches nothing but shame. And like Brené Brown's got all the stuff on shame. I'm not going to touch on that. But shame does nothing to your body to teach you a lesson except it makes you freeze up or makes you fight. And so, you know, fun fact for you, when they were, you know, back in the 90s, they were trying to think of, the Department of Health was trying to think of a way to make people stop smoking. Yeah. Right? So they're like, I know what we'll do. We'll plaster on all the cigarette packets, these graphic videos. Do you remember the ads? Like they were pumping them out.
And the
really
teeth and all that stuff.
Gruesome, heartbreaking ads of losing dads and mums and all this stuff. And they found the numbers weren't dropping that much. Why? Because fear and anxiety, that part of your brain, you feel it and then you feel shame about it, but it doesn't make you want to change. Yeah. So what do they do to decrease? Well, they increase the cost of cigarettes. Yeah,
that's a good way to do it. It's always
and they decrease the places where you can smoke. Yeah. So it became a lot stricter. They noticed numbers fell. Same thing with children. You're not going to encourage your kid to brush their teeth by reminding them about cavities. Kids don't have that scope to think in the future and go, oh my God. I mean, they eventually do.
When you tell them you're getting sweets the next day, I tell you that.
Yeah.
They remember that.
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
But I remember yesterday. You
so that's
said
a reward.
Today. Yeah.
That's a reward. That's not a fear or anxiety tactic. That's why they'll remember it's Wednesday. Let's go to Bounce or the trampoline place. But with fear, they're not going to remember. They're not going to understand that I better brush my teeth because that causes gum disease. No, they're brushing their teeth because perhaps that's what we do. You know, they start to understand about the health aspects. If your child's not brushing their teeth, and this is up in the top 10 most common things that I hear about, there is a reason. Check the toothpaste, check how tired they are, check that they want you to brush it for them. Yeah. You want to understand the story behind the story.
Do you feel like ego is a big problem in parents? Because, you know, a lot of people, I feel like, have had such a traumatic experience with their parents that instead of going, I mean, you get both sides. Instead of going, well, I'm not going to be anything like that, they go, I can't wait till I can do that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Subconsciously, maybe, that they're just like, no, it's my turn now. I'm the parent and I'm going to say no and you're going to do it. Yeah. Because so I had to do it.
Yeah, it's a blueprint. So even when you say, I'm never going to do what my dad did, you will do something your dad did because it's a blueprint until you unlearn that. So if we think of it like a programming of a computer, you're going to do that until you're aware of it and then you start practicing. I always compare it to learning a brand new language. So you and I could go to German class right now. Do you know German?
No.
I don't know German.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch. That's about
You
as
do
far as
know?
it
Okay,
goes.
all right. Let's say Russian. Do you know Russian?
No.
Okay.
Stop
it. All right, let's say Finnish. Do you know Finnish?
No, you could.
Yes.
You're good. Yeah.
So we go to Finnish class.
Yeah.
And, you know, we take notes and, you know, we do the transliteration of it all. And then we step out of the class. And then you say to me, I'm going to Finland. I got this. I'm like, bro, you do not got this. We did one lesson. Yeah. And say you do go. You're going to be holding that Google Translate. You know, like you need help. Yeah. This is what it's like to reparent yourself, to reprogram yourself. And so if we draw that back to ego, you know, fun fact story, you know, 10 years ago when I put my hand up in a seminar going, oh, but I've got a question. How do I make my kid listen to me? And the coach looked straight at me and she's like, why do you want your child to listen to you? And I'm like, because I know best. Like, it's a really good idea if they just did ABC. And she's like, okay, there's a lot of I's in that sentence. And it made me just like stop. When we sit down and think about what we're doing, it's all about us. We're just worried about us. 99% of the time, it's I. And once we remove the I, we start to see the child for where they're at. And that's conscious parenting in a nutshell. I know that there's deep philosophical explanations on Google, but my explanation is this. Conscious parenting is about living in the present moment, not looking at your kid and remembering 1985 when you were 3. Right? And going, I wouldn't have dared do that. You know how parents do that?
Yeah.
So therefore my child shouldn't be doing that. Or going to 2030 and going, oh no, my kid's going to be a brat if I don't do blah, blah. It's about being in the present moment, thinking that today, you know, is Wednesday. We're in 2023. This child is saying to me, I'm not putting on those shorts. I'm not wearing what you're telling me to wear. That's the problem you're dealing with.
But I think, again, it's an ego thing because it's like, I get that kind of thing a lot. And I'm telling them that. And then it's very simple. You don't want to wear this, so what do you want to wear?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just basically just go, okay, well, let's go and choose another one then. And they'll go and choose it and it's over.
Yeah.
But
so what if they choose like a fur jacket?
In the thingy.
And like, and it's 40 degrees.
I'll let them wear it. I'll be like, I'll tell them it's going to be really hot, but if you want to learn, do you know what I mean? If you want to experience it, go for it.
So you fall in the small percentage.
But that's only because my wife she kind of opened up my, you know, the Dr. Shivalis and all that stuff. And she kind of, me seeing her do things her way. And we were we had a very open dialogue about, hey, listen, let's try and do this a different way. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I was very open to learn and very kind of like, let's try and make this the nicest life possible and the easiest life possible for all of us.
So when do you
we still make mistakes.
When do you draw a boundary with your kids?
I think I've kind of left it very like I try very minimally to shout. I don't hit at all. My house is a circus, so it's mainly a fun-based house. I'm always joking and stuff like that. Where I will drive the line is if they do something towards their mother, or if they do something which is gonna cause them harm or trouble in the real world outside of the house. Because also, I find there's a very fine line, and this is what I wanted to ask you about for your advice. There's a very fine line from not shouting and not doing that, but also teaching them, hey, someone else will shout at you in the real world. So I do want them to get a feel of that under pressure. Someone just raised their voice and they're kind of like that. So when it's too far, I will give a, hey, kind of thing. But that says, I'm not going to sit there and have a shouting match with them because that's not going to do anything. But I will give them that sharp, that's enough kind of thing. That's way too much. And then later I will explain to them, but I tend not to explain. Like whenever something happens, I try not to explain straight away because I feel like they need at least half an hour or an hour before they're even going to take in what I'm saying kind of thing. Because they're still just like all over the place and they still can't get over it. Yeah, you know? I heard something about, and I don't think this was with children, just in general, that your brain and the negative chemicals you put into your body when you go into a shouting match stays like it takes your body 8 hours to recover from that as an adult. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
Doesn't leave you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just like, it's very difficult. And I do kind of catch myself sometimes, even sometimes when I say, like I used to say no to them about stuff. And then in my head, I'd be like, why did I just say no to that? Because, you know, I would have enjoyed doing that. And, you know, it's like, you know, when they do something dangerous, and I saw something by Jordan Peterson as well. And Dr. Jordan Peterson, he was just like, let them play in danger. As long as you know they're not going to break their neck or whatever, let them have a fall and let them do whatever, because you do have to do that, right? It's like, instinct is always like, don't do that. But then I'm like, why am I being so boring for? Just, you know, I started saying yes to a lot more things and just letting them just deal with it.
You've covered a lot there.
Is that right?
That's a lot.
Good or bad? Or
no, good.
Oh, okay.
Like you've covered a lot. My brain's thinking right now, you know, there's so many layers to that story you just told me. It's really, so the best thing I could do, right, to give you advice and give listeners advice is we want to look at, are we being permissive or are we being a coach? So let's talk about a few things that makes the two, you know, different to each other. When you're a coach, you know, like I coached a 14-year-old netball team back home. And there's Sarah going for goals on Saturday morning and she keeps missing, right? A coach, a good coach, a really emotion coach, someone that's grounded is someone that stands on the side and is like, you got this, buddy, come on, brush it off, bend your knees, you know, do all that stuff. But taking notes going, right, on Wednesday afternoon, we need to practice shooting, right? A permissive parent, a permissive coach is someone going, what? The thing's a bit bent, you know, like it's not your fault. Girl, you are so good.
Let me see that ball. It's that quality regulation ball. There's enough air in it.
And then another step forward. Girl, you are so, do you need a rest? Are you okay? Did it, you know, permissiveness is where you go. So it's high level emotion, low level boundary, right? Emotion coach is where you're 50-50. You're not saying to the kid, that was an excellent not shot. But you're saying, all right, keep going. And then, of course, you've got the two others, which is the disapproving and the, I've just gone blank. Disapproving, is this like going to be edited?
No, definitely not. So we keep going all the way.
All right.
That's life. We can't always be flowing. Do you know what I mean? Like in life, we do like forget about things.
So with the disapproving, it's more like, oh, I knew you'd do that. Like you didn't practice enough. You know, come on, you can do better. That kind of, you know, mentality. So what type of parenting are you generally? This is what I want people to listen to. You know, generally the language that you're speaking. I'm not talking about the times when you're tired, you've been in traffic on Hester Street for half an hour and. I'm talking about generally 70% of the time. Where do you fall? And so at that moment, you want to start to consider, okay, I need to take a break, pause, redo my words. And so if that fur jacket is completely not safe because it's 50 degrees outside, I'm going to hold a boundary. And it's going to sound something like, nope, you cannot take that fur jacket. This is not a learning curve. You can't do it. I cannot be dealing with a fever. Example. You can also say, yeah, sure, go learn from it. But we're just using that as an example of like the holding boundary part. What happens after that is up to your child. But nowhere in my 20 years of parenting experience is a child going to go, Dad, thank you for holding that boundary. You're amazing. Oh my God, thank you. Are you thinking of my health? No, parents want that, but it's never going to happen because of the brain, because of just children, nature. Development. Instead, parents start to fear not being liked, start to fear, oh no, I'm going to say no. 3 things to think about: legality, safety, and health. Right? So if those 3 things are covered, then cool. Yeah, instead of jumping off the dining table, which is somewhat dangerous, say in my household, I'll prep the couch up for you with some cushions around, go do that. No, I want the dining table right now. Yeah, I can hear you. No to dining table. Yes to this. Do you want me to take a photo of you while doing it? Do you want me to do it with you?
Confusion is the best, right? When you start adding stuff to them and then they think it's their idea.
We don't call it confusion.
What do we call it? We call it sleight of hand.
We call it positive distraction.
Confusion. They're just prettying up the word. No, but you know what I mean though? Sometimes sometimes it's very easy for you to just still both win. Absolutely. By you using the fact that you're a lot smarter in the sense of, you know, I can figure out a way where they still win and I win.
100%.
Kind of thing. If I just take the time and be creative with it.
It's not sly. I recommend it 1,000% for those, 0 to about 10, right? Because all to do with science, your brain can't register until you're relaxed. So when my kid's having a tantrum and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that green bird flying in the sky. And they take a second to go, I've gotten their brain to halt. I'm not saying to them, don't cry, or you are such a baby, or, I'm not doing any of that. That's called, suppressing emotions. What I'm doing is I'm encouraging them to take a breath, buddy. But parents are like, relax, take a breath. Kids are not going to do that. Adults can barely do that. If I've got heartbreak and you're saying to me, Maysaa, take a breath, things could be worse. People are dying. I'm going to be like
you're no help at all. Kind of thing.
I know that, that kind of thing. Same thing with kids. Their Lego has broken after they've pieced it together for hours. Oh, it's okay. Everything can be fixed. That's not going to help. And then dependent on the temperament you have. So touching on your, beautiful boys, you want to look at the temperament. Some temperaments will allow you to go, oh my gosh, you put so much effort into that and now it's broken. Some temperaments will be like, stop talking like that, mum. Obviously, it's broken.
But
that
how do you work, for example, for 5-year-old twins?
Yeah.
Noah, so Zayn is just like his mum. He's very patient. They're both standing on the cupboard. Zayn will be like, the wind's blowing there, the angle's 85 degrees there, so I need to, and Noah will just go, let's see what happens, and he'll jump. Do you know what I mean? So he's like me, he has none whatsoever. So when it comes to, we have these, I don't know if you know them, that these flat square magnet things that you can build things.
Oh my gosh.
So Zayn will build the Taj Mahal, and then you'll hear, like, in Lion King when the stampede comes, and Simba's in the thing, and then Noah's just coming like, and he'll run and fly and kick
Can
it.
you hear Zayn's voice going, no!
And it's like slow motion, and then Zayn just looks just like, why? And then Noah will be like, sorry, because he knows he hurt himself. How do I kind of stop Noah from doing that? Do I purposely make Zayn build things for Noah to knock down? So turn it into a game where, all right, let's try and make something bigger that Noah can fly kick, or do we, how do we?
That's a lot for Zayn. He's 5, to start to think of things like that. Firstly, I want you to start to practice to let go of he's exactly like me and he's exactly like his mum.
Okay. Is that bad? His mum's wonderful.
There's no bad and there's no good. But what we're doing is we're pigeonholing our thoughts. So it's the whole psychology behind what you think is what you believe is what will come out. Right? Okay. So what we want to do is go, yep, Zayn is Zayn. By the way, it's not genetic to pick up your temperament. And it's not it's genetic to get your eye color, your skin color, your height, whatever. That's genetic.
Okay.
But behavior and temperaments is a learnt thing. A child decides very indirectly without us noticing, and they won't even know when it happens. Like, you won't know the day that you decided to be a lover of jumping off counters, right?
It's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. And then you talk to somebody else. The biggest example is siblings. Like you just said, you've got twins. I've got 4 kids. I've got one kid that'll jump off, one kid that won't, one kid that won't just jump off. You'll jump off the non-jumpable off, right? And I raise them all exactly the same, pretty much. But this is how parents need to understand that it's not in our control who they are. So Dr. Shefali says this sentence, I love it. It is what it is. So for 10 years now, I've dropped the exactly like me, adventurous, or exactly like blah, blah.
But what's wrong with saying that in the
We're
sense
pigeonholing.
Okay, but...
Oh, that's similar.
If it's...
Oh, I used to like jumping off counters too.
Okay, for example, so Noah looks exactly like his mum.
Yeah, that's genetic.
Carbon copy.
Yeah.
Same hair, same face, everything. It just looks like a time travel.
Yeah.
Noah looks like me.
Cool.
Same everything. Zayn has his mum's blood type. Noah has my blood type.
Yeah.
Like down to those little things.
Got it.
I do really silly stuff. Just because I'm a weird guy. I'll wake up, pull my shorts right up to my thing and run around the house like a T-Rex. Like that's the kind of guy I am. I'm just weird. Noah does the same kind of stuff. I guess he's learned that. But why? Okay, but why has Noah, who is my carbon copy kind of thing, does my stuff, and Zayn does all the stuff of his mum?
Twins are fascinating. I'm never going to be able to fully answer that in the episode we have today. But in essence, I can just reassure you that it is what it is. Your beautiful boy has just decided that this makes him happy. This makes him feel safe. Being silly or running through things or whatever. It's just what he's decided. So just decrease the amount of times we kind of go, oh, that's like me. That's like my grandpa. That's like his mum. Just when we decrease that, we broaden our horizon, our perspective, because soon enough they're going to be 15, 18, 21. You don't want to keep retaliating with that. Just decrease. Second thing to think about is predictability.
Okay.
So Noah's predictable. Noah is the runner, thrower.
Yeah.
One? Yeah. It's predictable. So
But sometimes he comes from different angles, so he's not so predictable as you might.
But we know he's like a
he's going to do it in the end,
right?
Yeah.
So what we can do with predictable is, as much as we can, obviously we don't have eyes in the back of our head, but we're going to be like Zane. You know that building that right there is going to cause blah, blah.
Yeah.
Do you want to build it over here?
Yeah.
Do you want me to be like a fortress protector? Do you want to blah, blah? Noah, you, my friend, are allowed to run that way, not that way.
Yeah.
We want to do that as much as we can. This is like a literal example, a metaphorical example, whatever you want to use. This, what I'm giving you, the advice, you can insert it into any scenario, and then you've set them up. Now, Noah still ruins Zane's magnets. We've got to hold a boundary. We've got to hold, okay, Noah, you ruined Zane's magnets. Come here, buddy. No, I was just having fun. It's all right. You're not in trouble. This will calm a child down immediately. You're not in trouble. I'm not going to punish you. Yeah. But just take a look. Like, Zane's really sad.
Yeah.
And they'll kind of wiggle away. But it's step one. Step one. His little brain is gone, oh, building block, neuron, bing.
Yeah.
And then we keep going and going. You know, interestingly, and I've got a workshop coming up on this, temperaments is the secret to successful parenting, understanding temperaments. And the strong-willed child, they're the child that goes 0 to 100 really quickly. They're the child that you go, do you want this or this? They'll choose that. You know, they're the child that active, loud, intense. This child gets the most attention and energy, and every client of mine, and I've seen clients of all walks of life, comes to me to talk about this child. But I want parents to start to listen and think about the good kid that you have in your household, the easygoing kid, the compliant kid, the kids that are like, okay, mummy, all the time. Because the good kids don't get enough energy from the parents because we're so exhausted from the other one. And that needs to change.
That's very interesting. Okay, so I'm going to throw in questions that also, because like you saw, I put it out there for people to give me questions. So if if halfway through the interview I'm like, as a middle-aged woman, how do I, then just know that it's not coming from
and
me.
And he won't tell me beforehand. It's going to be a surprise.
What if people notice concerning patterns in the child, as in lying and these things? What's the correct way to approach that? And is there a difference in ages?
Okay. That's a big question. Let's just talk about lying. Why would you lie, AJ, to me? If I said to you, where'd you buy that?
I guess all lying comes from fear, right?
Spot on. Holla, straight to the point. Your kid's lying because they're scared. They're scared of whatever. It could be they're scared that their friends are not going to be their friends anymore. They're scared that they're going to get punished. They're scared you're not going to believe them. They're scared that they're going to lose the iPad over the weekend. You need to remove the fear. Remove the fear. So if you want the truth to come out, also don't set kids up for lying. Did you just hit your brother? Like, don't do that. Very rare a kid's going to, and the kids that do it are rebels pretty much. Yeah, I did. I punched him in the stomach. Very rare. And if that happens, the parent is often like, oh, how dare you? But you just asked. So lying in and of itself, you know, is not something per se that I would immediately go and take the child to a psychologist for. I want to look at what's going on in the relationship for this child to feel the need to lie, steal, cheat. Why is it that my kid's coming home every day with his classmate's pencil case?
Yeah.
Why is he doing that?
Klepto, that's why.
Is he really wanting the smelly texters that he's been telling you about for ages? And you're like, yep, and you're not getting them, for example. Yeah. It still doesn't okay the lying and the cheating and the stealing. At no point am I asking you to be permissive. Remember that example? Oh, yeah, the basket's a bit bent for your goal. We're not going, oh, darling, you really wanted those texters. I get it. No, we're not doing that. We're going, hey, stealing's not allowed. Okay, I can see that you want these texters, but we can't take somebody else's belongings. Come on, let's put them in the bag and I'll give them to Miss Sarah tomorrow.
But what about, where do you draw the line? So, for example, like you said, I want to ask the question. And again, all of my questions will be broad here.
Yeah, for sure.
They might not necessarily be how I deal with it in my house,
Yeah,
but
of course.
I want to say, why did you punch your brother? And I want to have a discussion about it, and I want to sit down and be like, what made you do it, and blah blah blah. But where do you draw the line from being too woke or too much of a soft parent, where like you don't tell them off about anything, or you don't discuss anything? Because I talk to my kids, like they're only 5, but we have adult conversations. And again, thanks to my wife, I have an explain, a talk and explain. Even if I'm telling them why they can't do something, there's going to be a full-blown explanation from my side, at least, of why I think it's not a good idea, or why I think it wasn't a good idea that they did that. So
That's cool.
where do you draw the line?
Yeah, you draw the line by practicing. You draw the line by taking that first step of awareness forward and going, okay, I'm not going to ask the question why. You know, AJ, no one likes why.
Yeah.
Hardly no one likes the question why. If I'm late and you said to me, why are you late? It's very like, I'll be on the defense.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm late. But we can say, hey, you're late. And it kind of, it's pushed the schedule back a bit. Is everything okay? And again, we're adults. Now let's take it to a child's perspective. We know why he punched his brother, because his brother's bloody annoying. Right? We know that he punched his brother because he's jealous. We know that we know why. We know why he spilt the milk. We know, parents know 99% of the time why. Leave the why. Now let's go to what's going on and how can I help this child? So in the term of like, you gave that example of, say, hitting. We want to give the most attention to the person that's been hit, not the hitter. So you want to go straight to the child that's been hit. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Let me check you. Yeah, that's red. All right, no blood. Do you need a Band-Aid? No, you're good. All right, buddy, sit over here for a sec. Now we go to the hitter.
Now let's deal with this Arab style.
Where's the shahata? Do you call it a shahata?
Yeah.
Some Arabs call it something else.
The naal?
I don't know. Somebody said something else to me the other day. I have to remember that as well.
Shib.
Shib.
That's Khalid, Egyptians.
Oh, there you go.
The shib.
It's a shahata. Yeah. What a levo. All right. So now we go to the hitter, because we know that they're feeling really crappy. Like 99% of kids don't like hitting. Come on, they don't feel good about it unless they're, evil adults that are just demented in some way. Generally, kids don't like hitting.
I don't understand how people hit their kids as well.
That's a whole different story. Yeah. Exactly. So you go to the hitter, the child, and you're like, buddy, hands are not allowed to touch anybody else. What's going on? Yeah. And now you're going to deal with the temperament in front of you. This is where it's so nuanced. And I never answer these questions, say on Instagram, because it can go in a million ways. And a lot of parents are like, yeah, but what if? I'm like, no, don't do what ifs with me, because we know our kid. So I know one particular child of mine, I know that I can't approach this child by going.
Close call. Good catch. Good save.
You're picking up.
Yeah.
I can't approach this particular child and go, what's going on? Yeah. Come on, buddy. Yeah. Because he will say to me, you always don't listen, or, it's going to be very defensive. Yeah. Right. But if I turn around and I'm like, okay, time out, you there. Does anyone need a snack happening here? Nope. You cannot be hitting mummy either. I'm going to carry you. So now at this point, I'm carrying the child and they're going like this. It's okay. You're holding a boundary. And you're going, nope, I'm going to have to hold your hands as well. You cannot be pulling my hijab. Nope. Let's go over. Do you know what? We're going to go over to here. You're not in trouble. I'm just taking you out of the spotlight. Come on. And off we go. Is that exhausting? Absolutely. Inconvenient? Yes. What else is the choice? Timeout. We know what happens to a generation of timeout kids. What else are you going to do? Hit. We know what happens with hitting. When you hit, you're teaching your child to hit or be hit for the rest of their life. So, this is now where I get quite heated up, because parents are like, oh, but that's so tiring, Maysaa. Like picking them up and taking them to another room. Okay, Dave, what else do you do?
What do you do? Yeah.
What do you do?
For your help. I give you advice. You don't want it. Go on somebody else's profile. Yeah.
It's almost like, okay, something's got to give, which comes back to something that, Shafali often mentions and a lot of parenting experts really talk about, which is that lazy parenting that a lot of our generation has. Now, I use that word very loosely. I can't think of another more appropriate word, but it's almost like we kind of want the kid to just know, just can you just grow up and just know not to hit your brother?
If you know the code to the iPad, then you can know not to hit your brother.
Right.
How did you figure out how to Google?
Right. And also, like, that's too much device time. Can you get off it and, like, go climb a tree?
Yeah.
What tree?
Yeah.
You know, but when I was little, Maysaa, we, like, went to the creek and fished tadpoles. What creek?
Yeah. You lived in a forest.
And also, our parents were irresponsible. They didn't check up on us at all.
I used to go out from 7 in the morning till 8 in the evening. And
right? Like, it's genius.
But I loved it, though.
It's genius that we survived it. Like, alhamdulillah, all good.
But it made us better. You cannot... I refuse to believe that you think that the childhood without electronics that we had was a worse childhood.
I think we're going to agree to disagree. Every era,
okay,
all right, every era claims the era before them.
Yeah, but you're an 80s baby, aren't you?
Every year, 100 years. I've got like research papers on this.
Yeah.
I researched it to...
Yeah, but we're 80s baby, so we're right.
We're 80s.
So we're right. Forget about the other eras.
I try to be serious, and AJ
Yeah.
just comes in like
you
this way.
You came to the wrong place, dude. Those papers mean nothing in here.
No, I'm doing your accent.
Yeah, right? Exactly. No, but I know what you mean. I totally understand.
Every era. You talk to your parents, they're going to go, in my days, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Love your era. Love my era. Full stop. We had an awesome era. We can't compare it. We can't say, but it was better than your era, because we're using Google Maps and Uber and we've got all this. You can't.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
This is the best time to be alive. But
we still climb trees.
Yeah, trees were awesome. Going out, playing had. I think the social side of our era, as in friends, like for example.
My kids have so many friends, AJ.
Okay, no, but I'll give you an
Social,
example. There was nothing better than, because you can't tell me that communication is better now, because it's not. It's cold communication. I have arguments with my friends who are adults going, listen, I want to hear your voice. Habibi, I just want to talk to you. Answer the phone. They're like, WhatsApp me. I don't want to have a message. You can't tell tone from a message. No. The message is boring. We're having a 50-minute conversation on WhatsApp. We can have in like 5 minutes on the phone.
Agreed.
Do you know what I mean? So when I was younger, I'd go to meet Tom.
Yeah.
Okay? I'd go to Tom's house.
Yeah. If
Tom wasn't there, because I couldn't call him.
No.
I'd have to go and get Tom. Then I know that Ben's already got to him first. Yeah. Ben and Tom have then gone to Mark's house, because he's not going to go to Ben's because Ben's already with him. So what I would do is I'd keep going until, and we'd have places.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that was enjoyable. And, you know, turning up and there's 8 bikes on the floor. That's how you know that there's kids there and stuff.
So I get it and I accept it and I love it, and I can share the same stories with you. I grew up in the most quintessential Australian lifestyle of childhood. Yeah. I remember everything. I'm just suggesting we leave nostalgia at the door and we kind of just relax a bit on our kids these days, because they don't have what we had and we didn't have what they have. We can't expect them to be more social, to be more chit-chatty when tech is increasing, not from their fault. They're just born into this world.
But would you rather, here's an example.
Yeah.
Would you rather your kids stay at home on the iPads or they all go out together to do something in the park? If they were up for both, which one would you rather them? Because on the iPad, family situation, they're not talking to each other. They're all doing their separate thing. One's on Guitar Hero, one's on this, one's doing that. You're all there. You're all family. Yeah. Or the same hour that they're spending there, playing a bit of football in the park together, or doing it. Which one would you prefer for your children? I'm not saying that that's the right way, or that's how we should be, or iPads are bad, because my kids are so smart now because of number blocks and because of all that stuff. Like, they're way ahead than I was. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I get it. It has its place and everything. But I mean, just that kind of thing. Do you not feel like they would much rather do the iPad thing given the choice now, where if they didn't have it, they'd be more living the life of how we were put here? Because at the end of the day, yes, we've kind of, you know, we've moved on and everything, but we're still kind of animals, right? We're still supposed to see the beautiful world and see the grass and you know, get you know, one of those stinging nettles on there and find a dock leaf that you can rub on it and make it better and those kind of things. So given the choice, do you not think that you would rather?
It's not so black and white. Of course, health comes first, and outdoorsy, fresh air, vital for, you know, a human being. Face-to-face connection is literally how we survive. Hence why pandemic really, you know, caused us to suffer greatly. I completely agree with you. But I think we need to understand how much energy are we putting in sentimental factor, and how much energy are we putting in, okay, place limits and boundaries. All right, cool, buddy. 1 hour on the weekend. Yalla, let's go. What parents are doing these days is, okay, 1 hour. Okay, you're done. get off. All right, just go do something. Okay,
Yeah.
but what is there to do? We live in Dubai, 9 months of the year, it's hot.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, what I'm suggesting is look at the era we're living in, leave the hate at the door and start being creative. Do you want your kids to get off technology?
Give them
Be
something
with
else
them.
to do. Yeah, well, yeah.
Be with them, because here's the thing, when we can keep comparing, and my parents, bless them, my best friends, they're amazing. They are part of the minority of Arab mentality. They were way ahead of their times, really emotionally intelligent. However, they did not spend a lot of time with us. They were busy surviving war, right? They hardly played with me. I don't even remember them reading me a book or whatever. That is something we are doing more of these days. And we're also simultaneously hating it. We're like, oh, but, you know, I grew up not having a book read to me. Okay, so you can't be hating it and also doing it, and also at the same time wishing your kid did it for themselves. You've got to choose where your stance is, because your kids are absorbing all of this. And by the time, as you know, they're 18 and 19, you know, we've got, you know, older kids, you know, they're going to start answering back to you. My kids often say to me, it's not my fault, Mum. You know, that, you know, Tom wants to play Fortnite because the new skin's out. You've got to take that into consideration. That's the version of going to knock on Tom's door in the 80s. So tonight I weighed it up. I'm like, okay, brand new headset he's gotten for his birthday. Tom's online, you know, brand new skins are out. That's huge. And you should see the magic.
It's an event, right? It is
it's
for them, and it's an event. I get it, but at the same time I don't get it. So I remember Kyan, so he was like, hey, can you send me some money? And I was like, yeah, cool. And I knew he was going to use it for gaming. So I sent him like £100, which is, you know, a lot, 500-600 dirhams. And then he started sending me pictures of all these skins. Look, I got these clothes, I got these clothes, I got these clothes.
Hurts your heart.
And all I was thinking is, bro, you could have bought real clothes for you in the real world to wear outside. Like, you could have had a new t-shirt and trousers in there. But to them, obviously, my other mate doesn't have this skin. So I understood. I didn't like have a go and say, because my mum would have gone nuts. Dude, as in, she would have made me take that back somehow. And taking me to the shop by myself. We're going to Primark. We're going to go get it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they come from a different generation. So I learned to adapt. Like, my gran, I remember once here in Abu Dhabi. So you know, we buy the ripped jeans. So I was here on holiday, and it was maybe 20, 25 years ago. And I bought some ripped jeans, and I took them and I put them on. And all I heard was, Khalifa. She's shouting, and she's saying, basically, this poor tourist, they cheated him and sold him some old jeans. Take him back now and get some new ones for him. Do you know what I mean? She didn't understand and I was explaining to her, and she was like, you bought something that's already pretty broken. Like,
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So
it can go on forever.
There's
a research scientist that has literally written 100-page research document. I'll save you from reading it and tell you that every generation calls the generation under them soft and dumb. Every generation says those two words. Really professional people, like they'll go to to the doctors of 1988, right, and say, "What do you think of the new generation that's coming up?" "Oh, they're soft and dumb." And now we're doing it again to our kids. Except no, they're so educated. This gen goes to school more than any other gen. Anyway, for me, I'm talking like I am pro-device, and my kids, and for me, it's all about moderation.
Balance.
Sometimes my kid's on a device for longer than I like, but that's because guess what? They're really handy sometimes. I've got 3 Zoom meetings in a row. One kid's sick. Okay, here you go. Done. And we shouldn't be hating on that. That's where I'm coming from with your kind of
not when it's convenient for you, then you're gonna hate on it. But it's not because I've done that. I've woken up in the morning. I've been like, you're watching number blocks for the next 2 hours because I'm tired. I'm not gonna do anything.
We just got to be like easy on ourselves in terms of, all right, Mum. Like I'll say to my mum, it's not my fault. iPads are babysitting children these days. You're hating. You wish that you had them in your days. No, I did everything myself. Look at you. You've got arthritis everywhere.
No, it's true. How do we deal with children coming back? And I guess this is more of a younger one, but we can kind of scale it up to older ones. I have some friends asking me, how do we deal with them coming home and suddenly being like, this and
swear words,
that and that? Learning it from other people.
Again, gosh, swear words are so interesting because when I say the F word, mum and dad really care. Is a child's brain. Dependent on temperament. But let's just go with the general stereotypical child. okay, so that word makes dad's eyes really stop looking at the email he's reading. So I'm going to do that more often. And also, what is it? What does it mean? No one's telling me, except it just sounds really cool. And I hear mum say it sometimes, and I hear the movie they're watching, you know, like that's a child's brain. Yeah. When we understand what's going on for the child, then I can tell you what to do. Because parents are often like, okay, what do I do? No. First, you've got to understand the why. Why is your kid dropping the F-bomb? They're dropping it because attention is being given to it higher than other things. I'll give you the best example as a metaphor. I'm at swimming lessons. No judgment. We're all on our phones, parents. Cool. Even me, I'm on the phone. But one kid says to his mum, Mummy, and like he's doing this amazing front stroke. He's 5. And the mum's going, oh, yeah. Again, no judgment. We're all doing that, but I'm going to get to my point. And he's like, but look. Da-na-na. And she's like, okay, excellent. Okay, da-na-na. Back onto the phone. Kid stops and starts throwing toys all over the pool. Mum puts the phone down, gets up, walks on over to the kid, bends down to the kid's level and is like, now you listen carefully. You are not allowed to. Okay, the kid has just programmed themselves to go, right, being naughty gets my mum to come to me. When I'm good, I get a thumbs up. Which one do I want more? Because kids don't understand bad attention, by the way. It's a phenomenon. It's called undue attention, UNDUE. Look it up. Undue attention is a phenomena in a child's brain where they're like, any attention is attention. So I'm going to do it. That's why the naughty kids of a classroom, and I say that in inverted commas, do what they do, because that's where they get the most attention poured into their piggy bank, if you want to think about it. So when the kid is being good, they're like, see, you are being good. But then when they're being naughty, oh my God, no. Like they'll go over the top. So what we want to do is look at our reaction. How much are we pouring into when they are swearing? Do they know what it is? How old are they? Like depending on age appropriateness, where'd they pick it up from? Get curious. Hey, have you heard me say that? Hey, you know, we kind of don't say that word. We can say sugar. You know, you want to be like, not blasé about it, but almost like not paying it any deep attention. Go.
How?
We can go like boom, 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 boom.
As a mother, how can I get the father to be more involved? Yeah. I get that a lot, by the way, from people.
A lot. So it's really interesting you say that. Whenever I work with couples, we end up into marriage counselling or relationship counselling. The idea is there is nothing a child wants to see more than the two adults of their life getting along. It's a child's dream. So you want to look at how much time are you pouring into the relationship? Do you want to be in the relationship is the first question I kind of start off with. Do you love him or her? Do you want to be here? Do you want to work for it? What's going on for your partner? Why is he or her really not interested in gentle parenting? Did they have a traumatic childhood? Have you supported them? Do you talk over them? Do you give them space? Do you do date nights? Do you do anything to do with relationship work? Because relationships require work before you think of parenting.
So that goes even for like, because, hey, look, I don't understand people who have kids who don't want kids, because sometimes it's clear you just had kids for all the wrong reasons. And I think that's like, for me, my boys are my best friends, and I just love spending time with them. And you know, there's a lot of psychological things for it. Like, for example, my father passed away when I was 3, so I didn't know my father at all. So I feel like I'm not overcompensating, but just trying to spend as much and build memories as much as possible. I do have friends who are like, mate, my husband does nothing. Their relationship's fine. They go out, they're at Nobu, they're doing this, so you know, they don't have an issue there, but he's just not really interested in being involved. So I'm not talking just about gentle parenting. I'm talking about parenting in general, where they would rather, you know, the father would always make up an excuse, and maybe we can talk about this for fathers that are still living at home and some that aren't living at home. So you know, sometimes they tend to, okay, it's a weekend, so I'm only doing that. And I find it very strange, because unless the child is being weaponized against the man, which does happen, we're not, you know, not everyone is very cool with breakups and all that stuff. But if the mother allows you to see your kids whenever you like, I find it very strange that fathers are just waiting for the weekend and they're not maybe popping in on Wednesday or...
I've got kind of like a really open mind when it comes to men. I really believe that not a lot of attention is given to fathers. I think that it is a really tough world out there for men. I mean, the odds are stacked against males, sorry to say, mental health wise. You guys don't talk. A lot of you. You know, and this is concerning. I've got 3 males of my own, boys, that are growing up into the world. And, you know, I want to remove this, oh, you're a sissy if you talk about emotions, because we know for a fact that that is what stops healthy mental health increasing. So let's look at this really simply without it turning into like a therapy session. We want to just understand where that guy is coming from. Has he tried to parent and he's always like, it's never good enough? Is the wife or partner like, don't worry about it, I'll do it? Or have they, has he just had no attention or love growing up? Where's he parenting from? You want to get to understand your partner, whether you live with them. Let's talk about if you do live with them. You know, if they're struggling to really connect with the children, then they're struggling to connect with themselves. That means that they're struggling to be kids themselves. And so you really want to help him as much as you can. We can't force an adult to, you know, fix themselves up and go on the journey of healing, but you want to get curious about that partner in front of you. That's probably as deep as I'll go on that one.
Wait for episode 2, so we can go into that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about hitting. I grew up getting licks, and I'm telling you, I got beat for
everything. Is that like a Brit word, licks?
Yeah, licks.
Okay, what's a lick?
Just
like
licks, just like sticks, whatever's around. Like my mum would beat me with everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at her because I don't feel like it affected me. Like, to be honest, I learned when I did something that was serious, that I was like, I'm at least not gonna get caught doing this again, let alone doing it again. But when I, like, me personally, it's the one thing that confuses me is, so when my kids were about 2 or 3, I remember one of them did something and I kind of pushed him away. The way he looked at me,
you can remember it.
Yeah, with such, like, the way he held himself and the confusion in his face, like, why would you ever do that kind of thing, broke my heart. And, like, to this day I remember that look. And it's just like, I just don't understand it. Because I used to get full on beats, as in not just a slap, a good 10 minutes of being chased around the place and
Sorry
beat.
for that.
So but all of my friends were like that. Like, everyone I knew when they messed up back in the 80s would get beat for it. Like, it wasn't an Arab thing, or all of us would get beats.
It's, our parents had no other skill set. Got it.
So do you think that's...
Oh, that's why. Yeah. So what happened to our...
So it's not like because some people say, sorry to interrupt, but some people say, like, because of the love that I have for these kids, I would never want to do that. So, you know, I've had some people say to me, like, did they not love me or what? Because how could you hit your own child? But I don't think it was like that for them, right?
No. The Gottman Institute made a really good discovery. They said that they don't count love as being a prerequisite for good parenting. Let me explain. Love is relative. Like you just said, an abuser can still say, I love that person, that's why I did, blah, blah. Love is relative. You want to look at connection and validation before love when you're parenting. My answer to you is this: your parents did the best, not yours, but we're just going to say your parents did the best they could do with what they knew. If they knew better, they would have done better. That's it, full stop. We can add, and that still hurt, because we can validate ourselves. Now we can add, so there's now another layer. And this is the burden our generation has with all this knowledge we have with podcasts and self-help and all these books that we're reading. Now we are aware of something else to do. And something else that we can do is not hit and do like 17,000 other things and hit, right? Hitting is by far the biggest taboo topic that I deal with parents. Parents don't like to touch on it because it's like the ugly side of their dysregulation, but it needs to be said, and it needs to be said loudly. It's every time I post these videos about hitting, it's the most often time that people kind of go quiet, but we need to say it. Hitting destroys a child's soul. Now, there are some amazing kids that are quote unquote resilient. I don't like to use that. You are not resilient. Your brain just taught you to get creative. All right. So that happens when that happens. So I'm a da-da-da-da-da. There's 3 things that can happen to a child that's been hit. 1 is that. 2 is oh my gosh, I'm never going to express myself ever again. They're the suppressors. They're the depressed people. And the third one is, I'm going to hit back. Watch me. They're those angry men that we do not want our daughters around. And so what we need to do is be careful with hitting. I feel really strongly about hitting, actually.
Me too. Yeah. I just find it weird.
Yeah, we just got to cut it out.
I feel like if I saw it in the supermarket, I feel like I'd stop and say something.
You can imagine
I know you're
me.
not supposed to.
Oh.
But like, I think I'd be like, hey, hold on a minute. There's no need for that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
It's weird, but just like...
I don't think that we're allowed to, per se, legality, but I feel like the child deserves to be stuck up for.
Look, and again, this is weird, and I don't know how
Where are you going with this?
How I feel about this, but I feel like as they get a bit older, there are certain lines that need a slap.
Oh,
I do feel like that as they get older, and when I feel look. So, for example, if one of my kids is in high school and he goes up to a girl, slaps her in the face, and grabs her bum, when he comes home, if I find out he done that, I'm going to talk to him after I give him a slap.
Yeah, but you've just reiterated, stop slapping. I'm going to slap you.
No, but like when you come from an educated upbringing, I feel like there's certain lines that are a bit too far. Like, I don't know how I deal with it. But
draw the boundary out other ways.
Yeah.
Draw the boundary with all due respect and love, and I get it. Like even you saying that, I'm imagining being the mum of the boy that did that and being the mum of the girl that endured that. Yeah. Like I get it. Regulate yourself. Regulate the hell out of yourself first. Then draw the boundary. You went too far. Now. Room, device, now. I need to know more of this story. Yeah. Now. You can draw that boundary. When parents slap, they are teaching the child that it's okay to be slapped and therefore you can slap.
But even as an adult?
Even as an absolutely.
Okay, so say for example, okay, this is going to go a bit deeper. Say my kid's 16.
Yeah.
He's just a bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
Mum tells him something he doesn't like, slaps her and walks out the house.
Yeah.
Now, are you telling me as a father, my beautiful wife and the children I've raised, that I should be like, let's talk about this? Or I should be like, mate, like, maybe not a slap, maybe a very heavy shake, like to the point that he fears God through it. But I feel like there needs to be a level of, hold on a minute, because this is the dangerous thing. It's very hard to also try and protect them because not everyone in the real world is going to treat you the way I treat you in the house. But so if you did that to someone else's girl in the street or someone else's woman, they might stab you and kill you. So I need to teach them. Do you know what I mean?
I do, but it's a flawed thinking from a scientific point of view. Let's break it down a bit.
Okay. Basically,
if a 16-year-old hit his mum, there's something going on, mate. There's a breakdown that happened before the hit, before the slap that he did.
Yeah.
No 16-year-old wakes up and goes, today I'm going to hit my mother. Hitting is a form of communication where that child's brain has now shut down and has said, like, the brains literally have one job, and that is protect. His brain has said, protect yourself. What's the mum had the mum had said, you know, you're not allowed to see that girl, or you're banned from this, or I'm not giving you any more money, whatever. The brain has said to him, protect yourself. Slap. Is it a great thing to do? Absolutely not. Should you be like, oh, let's have a chat about this, dear son? No. No. It's get into the middle. Remember what I taught you before? Check on the hitter, on the hitted. Go to your wife first. Oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm so sorry that just happened. Go to the hitter. Hey, that is not allowed. At 16, we definitely do not do that. Let's go. Now. No, get out of here. And by 16, they're a bit too big and tough to kind of pick them up on your...
I do jiu-jitsu, mate. I'll hold him down and get him in a chokehold.
If you hold him down to do a chokehold, he's going to hold other people down to do a chokehold.
Can't I just tie him up for a little bit and just leave him in...
Stop joking.
No, okay, but like, it's difficult.
You can't. It's difficult.
And especially coming from... I don't know if male or female are different, but we have that in us, that protective mode, right?
But do you see the irony between what you're saying?
Tell me.
Like, the irony is so huge. You know, you're talking about a hypothetical 16-year-old boy, right? And you're a male. Like, you're telling me about how it's like instinctive to protect yourself. You just said that. That's what you're...
Protect your wife and their mother.
Yeah, and that's what the 16-year-old did, except he's his own wife and mother. He's protecting himself. See
Yeah,
how
it's
ironic?
very strange because
Bang.
again, I don't know. Clip that TikTok. But see, I don't know how I would react in that situation.
Set
And this is
yourself
the
up
thing.
from now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I get your point is right as well, where it's not going to be a random child who's just going to come out with that randomly. You're going to see the signs from way early.
Yes.
Okay.
No kid wakes up and says, today I'm going to go and do a shooting in a school. No, it's been a long time of red flags.
Yeah.
No kid wakes up and says, today I'm going to, hurt my sibling. No one does that. You want to show them how to react when that has happened. And the irony is so huge when me and you are talking that you're like, Maysaa, but it's so hard. Yeah, he's feeling the same way. So hard.
But I guess the process is going to be super long then, because it's not, how do you move from that? Because there's going to be trust issues there, right?
Yeah, huge. There's going to be a huge need of two regulated humans talking to each other, and it's your responsibility. You chose to have kids. You have to be the mature one. It's your, I don't care how you do it. Go have your Red Bull, your coffee, you eat your food, whatever it needs, or you go do jiu-jitsu, whatever a human needs as an adult to really regulate themselves, talk to your best mate, all of that. Healthy stuff. We're not going to go down, not healthy things. Regulate yourself. You're the mature adult. Let's go back in there and find this 16-year-old, because my gosh, is he not allowed to do that. I am so peed off with you right now, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully because you really overstepped that line. Yeah, but she said, I get that she said that, but can we agree that you cannot be slapping her? And then what you're doing there is you're showcasing to your son what a mature man does when, can we say?
I've been trying not to. I'm out of respect. I'm only not swearing, but I swear every episode I'm swearing the hell out of everything.
I'm so honored.
Like honestly, I'm like, keep it nice. There's gonna be, people watching
when
this. That's
shit hits the fan.
Oh. Bloody hell, man! I've been waiting for that shit for ages. Now that we can go, let's start the episode again. Welcome to another bloody episode of Jibber. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. It's very hard. It's very, very hard.
Okay, something that that interests me, and a conversation myself and my wife have a lot. Bullying. Now, I'm telling my wife, listen, I'm gonna send them MMA, jiu-jitsu, all of that stuff. Not just so they can choke people out, but because it will make them, if anything, not want to fight, because they'll know what they can do. Yeah. It will teach them discipline. It will
Unless
teach them
Noah says, no, Dad, I don't want to do that. I want to go to piano.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 100%.
Cool.
I'm not one of these people where you're going to do this because I like doing it. No. I want them to do whatever they want. That's fine. Noah already will do jiu-jitsu. We already do jiu-jitsu in the house, so it's fine. But this whole kind of like talk to the teacher. I know you shouldn't teach them fight back. I know that. But
are you talking about if your kid is being bullied or if
both?
The bully?
I mean, because I had a conversation about them the other day. I always do random conversations where, so what do we do if we see other kids being bullied?
Love that. Take note, guys.
Yeah, kind of thing. And what do you do? And I'm sorry, I know you're going to tell me this is wrong, and you can maybe tell me a better one, but I always tell them, hey, listen, everyone else is one. You guys are two, right? So if ever one person, if you see Zayn being bullied, Noah, what do? Run and fly kick him and blah, blah, blah. But I always teach them gang up. And I know that maybe that's not the right way, but, use your weapons when you can. Use the fact that you're safety in numbers to save the other one from getting bullied. Like I told my wife that day, I'm making Peaky Blinders, mate. No one's going to mess with them because they know that if they mess with Zayn, they're messing with Noah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
You're doing the best you can with what you know.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And she's like, I don't want them to learn that because they might do nothing. But I would rather them get bullied. And this is something that I've always heard growing up. And it's just, if you get hit the bully back, because he's not going to want to do it again next time because you're trouble. It's your effort. Do you know what I mean? And there's truth to that because I've been through it in life before. I've known a lot of people that have done it before. The whole kind of hit the biggest one and the rest of them all kind of, there's a lot of truth to that. And there is definitely truth. I don't know about the science papers, but I know through life experience, if somebody's trying to bully you and you fight back, next time he'll think twice and maybe find a weaker person who's more victim. So there is truth to, hey, stand your ground. So where's the line between come and tell me and stand your ground and take no shit from no one? Where do we draw that line?
You can stand your ground and take no shit from no one and also not hit. And if you are getting hit and you hit back, that's a very natural response. Because generally speaking, we can't just be like this when someone's going pound, pound, pound.
But people do, victims and people,
And that
people
is
part of bullying.
That is a
when,
temperament.
Yeah, when they're
right?
scared and they fear, they don't hit back and they don't protect themselves because they're not confident enough to hit back because they feel like they're supposed to be bullied if it happens more than, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. So if we just for the sake of like our chat, if we leave nuances out for a second, we want to look at the relationship between parent and child.
Yeah.
A child that's being bullied has got a lot of stuff happening. And this child needs help, learning a skill set. Perhaps this child needs more role play in their life. Perhaps this child needs more involvement. Perhaps this child doesn't know how to be kind to people, and so they're not kind and then people are bullying them. Perhaps like there's so much going on. But step one is you as a parent. How much time do you spend with your kid? When I say you, it's not you.
Oh, yeah,
you get it, yeah? All of you,
Yeah.
all of us, even me. How much time do you spend with your kid? You know, yesterday my son said to me, oh, Tom didn't let me join the soccer game. Now, when you said bullying at the start, and if the camera caught me, I was like, because that is one topic that boils my blood. And I like took 10 deep breaths, maybe because I was bullied as a kid. So it's a really kind of egotistic thing. Like I want to protect my kid from what I went through, but it's not about me. So I took 10 deep breaths. I'm like, oh, okay. And then what happened? And he's like, oh, just walked off. And I'm like, take 10 deep breaths again, Maysaa. This is not about you. I'm like, okay, but did you want to play soccer? And he's like, you don't know what it's like to be in year 6. And I said, what does that mean? And he goes, you can't just like say to the kids, you're not being kind. Because, you know, he knows my language.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shivers. I go, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You can't say that in year 6 because you'll
get bullied more.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah. And I go, so what can you say? Nothing, Mum. Let's just change the topic. We did. We came back to a bit later. This is how we make relationships. Okay, how important was it for you? And these are questions you can start to ask your friend. Do you want me to get involved? Do you want some help? What can I do? Tell me more. You build a relationship. But more often than not, kids just want to express it out of them. If there is a deep and serious bullying issue, go and see the teacher and school. Be persistent. Do not give in. Do not only teach your child, stick up for yourself. Go and get help from a coach, from a therapist, from the school. Do all the things. Don't just rely on the kid to protect themselves. There has to be a system that's protecting them as well. A kid can't, it's a very rare child that can stand their ground. Very rare. You know this, right? What we want to do is we want the system to help them. And if your kid is being a bully, then they have big insecurity. And we really want to delve into that insecurity. Something's going on. They're insecure. And kids are screaming for help. Bullies are screaming for help, but they'll never know how to say that. And the parents have just missed the boat. Never too late.
So how do you spot a child or your child is being bullied? Because like you said, a lot of the time children might not say, or they might deal with it with their own ways, or that's maybe why they're on their devices so much, because they don't want to have that airtime where it's kind of time.
It's tricky.
Is there any kind of key things that you can look for, or
demeanor is probably the first one. Parents are really good kind of investigators, you know, trying to piece 2 and 2 together. Thinking about, right, when was the last time? Oh, this is a predictable. Oh, this is a pattern. But nothing will go as strong as having a relationship. I'll always say this. The golden ticket to parenting is one-on-one time. How often do you take Zane out alone, one-on-one for a coffee? Juice, whatever, right? How often do you take your kid who loves to roller skate? How often do you take them to do that? How often do you do quality time? And parents are like, Maysaa, I had this one lady that said to me, I spend like literally 12 hours with my child. I said, no way, Jose. Yeah. There's no way you can spend 12 hours.
And that's too much as well.
And that's too much. Yeah. Like you're probably on your phone. I'm saying this with all my heart. We all love our kids. We cannot spend 12 hours playing Pokemon, right? We want to look at quality. I'm going to play Guess Who with you. I said with my 5-year-old, I'm putting my phone away. I'm not even folding laundry. I'm all yours. Let's go. Can we play 5 games, Mum? Sure. And I was his, and I kid you not, that 20 minutes was worth hours.
How does a person change not being present for their child, and I mean, this is a difficult question. How does somebody notice they're not being present?
By their child's behavior.
So you think behavior is key, like red flags?
Yeah, there's 3 key attachment needs for a child, and they are food, sleep, and hygiene. Dependent on the age of your child. Let's go with toddlers. If they're not pooping well, you're not attached to them enough. If they're not sleeping well, you're not attached to them enough. If they're not eating well, then children will use these 3 aspects to gain power in their life. It's a psychological thing. Even adults do it, but we don't have enough time to talk about adults. But children will turn fussy eating, stop sleeping well, and, you know, stop wanting to have a shower or a bath or go to the toilet when they don't feel connected enough with their parent. Why? Because it's the only thing that they can control. Well, you can't hold a kid and shove food down their throat, literally, right? So the kid's like, right, haven't seen mum all day. I'm just going to go, ew, this is ew pasta. What? You've eaten that pasta every day for like a month. Now it's ill? Because kids don't know how to go, I miss you. Why don't you sit with me? You've been out all day. Kids don't know how to say that, and they probably never will.
That's
until
so
they're
interesting
adult.
that you say that, because something that I want to kind of bring up a little bit is, so there's this running theme in my house. My wife works and I do this. So I get a lot more time than she does during the day. So I'm always around them. I take them to school. I bring them back. I play with them. I am, you know, most of the day is with me. My wife comes home about 4ish. No matter what mood they're in, they could be like Buddhist monks meditating in the living room. The second she comes in, oh shit, it's a fan. And they're crazy and they're all over the place. Their energy's all over the place. Come to sleep time. Anytime my wife's out and I'm doing bedtime, 7 o'clock on the dot, snoring.
Sleeping.
Snoring. Whenever she's doing bedtime,
it's long and lengthy.
Which is more than I do bedtime, because she wants to spend more time with them because she hasn't seen them in the day.
Yeah. And
almost impossible. And that's what it's from. Yeah.
That there, what you just said, is where she's going wrong. Okay. Don't try to spend time with your kid when it's nearly bedtime.
Yeah.
Let's go at 4 o'clock. Now I know she's had a long day of work. Okay, take a deep breath, sit in the car for another half an hour, have something to eat. All right, here we go, take 2. And I know it's inconvenient and whatever, but you want them to get into bed, right? There is where you spend all the time. You know, I do a lot of sleep work with clients. I've had 100% guaranteed strike rate of get my child to sleep for me. Will do. But sleep starts from the moment they wake up. Yeah?
Babe, I'm going to bring her to the house. She's going to do this. Okay, two parts of that.
Let's
One,
go.
Zane.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's just like his mum. He's similar to his mum. He's similar to his mum in the way that she's very odd. The second her head hits the pillow,
see you later.
Done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about weirdly lights out. This is the Matrix. Something's going on there.
Suppression.
Yeah. Out. Me, I'm on my laptop like that next to the bed, and I'll be up till 2 a.m.
And you need the right temperature.
It's probably like the 8 Red Bulls, but and I think Noah, very similar to me. He, like, Zane's out 7. Noah needs another 10, 15, 20 minutes. If his mum's out, he'll still be walking out at 9 o'clock.
All right, we need Noah to run a lot more.
Okay.
We need Noah to do an obstacle course before bed. This is free advice for you, literally. We need Noah to exert what I call as powerful energy. So what we need Noah to do is, yalla, carry that 2-liter milk to the fridge. Come on, drag this heavy couch. We need Noah to exert the power. I'm talking age appropriateness.
But more than he already does, because he's non-stop already.
It's not in the amount that is
not heavy
required.
enough. Okay.
But also, that's kind of the physical logistic part. And again, we'd have to sit down for an hour together. But the emotional part is, what's going on? All right, I'd have to look at, where are they sleeping? What are they doing? Their mum, their dad, there's a lot there. But in essence, children will go to sleep a lot easier once you do this particular checklist of things that I've got down pat.
But why? Love that. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
I'll take a lot more than that. I'm not going to let you get away with just giving me that. But why, when I'm doing the bedtime, 7 done, finished?
Because you're secure. You're safe. You're predictable. They know you inside out. You've shown the same response every time.
Yeah, I'm not having it. When they come out, I'm just like, nah, mate, get back in your room. We're not doing this now.
Mum's feeling guilty.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, and I don't know how to do this, and oh, I'm so tired. And
yeah.
With all due respect, I love mum already, but you've got to show kids that you're a safe, secure base.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
ADHD. Now, back in the day, they were like, he's
Naughty
just
kids.
he's just a lively kid.
Yeah.
Now, everyone who has a bit of energy has got ADHD. So there's a slope there
Yeah.
where I feel like it's over. What's the word that I'm looking for? Diagnosed. There
Yep.
you go. I was going to say composed for a reason. Overdiagnosed. How do you feel about it?
I'm definitely not an ADHD expert, but I will say this. We've got to live away from the past. It's just like I grew up with no one being allergic to nuts.
Yeah.
But I think everyone was. Like we just didn't know, right? So there is that. We just know a lot more stuff now. And I think anxiety fills parents' brains up way too much. We're Dr. Googling and we've got Instagram stories and there's a lot of information coming at us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that idea of when I ask you to look, no, let's do it the other way around. When you really want to buy a car, that's the only thing you're going to see on the road.
Yeah.
It's the phenomena. So here's what I will say. Red flags are red flags. Every parent's going to have a different dynamic to what they feel in their gut instinct. And professionals are there for a reason. They've been trained for a reason. There's no harm. There's no risk. Go for it. Give it a try. I'm not saying chuck your kid on medication, but I am saying this about the lively kids. And oh my gosh, this is the only topic I do not talk about. So I'm just going to touch on it very lightly. Schools need to change. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, big time. Okay, another thing. Let me just check. Yeah, we're on an hour and a half. I love it.
Oh, wow.
Wonder
what my teens are doing.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll come out full face of makeup on there. So how do you teach financial independence and that kind of stuff to children? What age should you start teaching them that kind of thing? Because I feel like
5.
no one's taught that. Okay, 5.
5. Okay. You get $1 per age of your age. And there's a fantastic book called Unspoiling Children with Money.
Okay.
By a fella called something or other Lieberman. And the idea is you start them early with the 3 piggy jars of saving, spending and charity.
Interesting, yeah.
And you just start that real early. And children are for forever are never going to be satisfied with the amount of money that their parent gives them because that's just life.
Yeah.
Right? So you would start to let go of being liked. And I've got a few philosophies about money. I do like a budgeting system in my household where, you know, my older kids receive a budget per month and then this is where they can calculate. They're probably cringing listening to this right now, but they start to calculate, all right, this is the pair of jeans I want to buy. This is what I need to get. I fulfill all requirements of non-negotiables like food and sanitary items and whatever. But if I've just bought you a pair of jeans and you want a different pair of jeans and that's going to come out of your
Dude, that's
budget.
awesome. I didn't have nothing like that. I wish I had something like that because
teaches them.
I was just like, got money.
Yeah.
Let me see how many sweets I can buy with this money.
Yeah.
Like,
so every second month they get a budget.
Nice.
And do your thing. If you want to blow it all on whatever, that's your budget. It's gone. For 2 months, you're not going to have a budget. Sick. I'm not even asking you to pay rent. Like
that's
I'm not
so
going to.
Good though,
Thank
because
you.
it teaches them that. Because I was the opposite. My mum didn't teach me anything like that, and I wish that because I'm so bad with money. I wish I had that.
Yeah. So I'm
Wife's
learning.
the opposite to me, by the way.
Yeah.
She's budget. She's like, this is what is going out. So I just think it's so important.
Yeah, I'll tag you in a post.
Yeah,
I've got a really
kudos
good post
to you
to
doing
help
that.
you.
You guys need to appreciate that because it's going to make you rich in the future.
Thank you. Are you listening?
Yeah,
Can you love me more? Thank you in advance.
Yeah. Is there anything that you feel like is really important that we missed out on, or I ruined by throwing jokes in there halfway through?
You didn't ruin anything. I think I'll say this: work on you first. Don't fix your partner. Don't fix your children. Don't fix the teachers. Don't fix the system. Work on you first, whether that means hiring a coach, therapist, going down that route, whatever you want to do. Work on you first because your kids are perfect the way they are. They are unique human beings that are brought into this world that are already done. They're not a blank canvas. They're already made up. They just now are going to learn what is going to get me love, worth. What is going to make me successful? What is going to make me liked? And, you know, as they get older and older, they'll go through other things too. But what is going to get them to feel that is when you love you. You love you first. I'll often say to my kids, guess what? I got through today without even yelling once when I was stuck in traffic. Like, how often are we compassionate with ourselves? How often are we talking nicely about ourselves? Concentrate on you first. Then deal with, why isn't my kid brushing their teeth or going to sleep or.
Yeah, you thought that was going to be, I'm going to get more out of you.
What?
Top 3 pieces of advice that are like, that you would say are the most important and the most, that you hear the most as well. Problems and advice for them. Sorry guys, I'm going to try to get you as free stuff as possible. Then I'm going to send you to the paid course that's going to come soon. And then let's talk about that as well, all the socials, and then we'll promote the next course that's coming out.
First one, if you are in a relationship, get that down pat. Invest all your money, all your time in your relationship. Your kids are going to love you for it. Secondly, learn what it takes to be regulated. And lastly, this is the third piece of it.
Elaborate on the regulated part.
Yeah. So regulation is the ability to not allow your emotions to control you.
Okay.
So when they do control you, this leads into the third part. Bloody get good at apologizing. There's 9 ingredients to apology, and the number 1 is don't put a but in there. This is the pain of raising conscious children. They're listening now. Sometimes I will give an apology and I'll be like, but, and my kids will be like, no buts, mum. It feels crap. If I said to you, AJ, I'm really sorry for being late, but you didn't really, but it's like it's gone. Get good at apologizing. We've lost this. We're always scared of being too nice. What is that? Too nice. Just call it for what it is. You stuffed up. You yelled at a kid. You're not allowed to yell at a child because you are ruining their self-esteem. So let's go with an apology. Thank you in advance.
You said there's 9 ingredients.
Yeah, there are 9.
Do you want to say them to that? Because I'm going to use it as a TikTok. List them 1 to 9. Let's go.
Can I read off my phone?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course. I'm about to give you hey guys, I'm just trying to get the most out as possible.
All right.
And then we'll talk about the next thing.
I've got it saved because this is, so Harriet Lerner, write that name down, Lerner. She is literally a professor of apologies, right? It's a phenomenal job to have. All right, here we go. 9 essential ingredients. You ready? 1, your apology does not include the word but. You keep the focus on your actions and not on the other person's response. You include an offer of repatriation or restitution that fits the situation. Let me repeat that again. It includes an offer of a restitution, so it fits the situation. It's not a do-over. You don't get caught up in who's more to blame than who started it. It requires you to do your best to avoid a repeat performance. It shouldn't serve to silence the other person. It shouldn't be offered to make you feel better. And it does not ask the hurt party to do anything, not even forgive. Let me give you an example. Please accept my apology. I'm so sorry. That's not an apology.
It's like, it make me feel better.
Right?
Yeah.
And also, do you feel bad?
Yeah,
Come on, child. We want to go like this, and so copy this. This is my big viral TikTok video, by the way. Like, we live in a world where people really need to be taught how to apologize. I'm so proud, but I'm also so like, why aren't we learning this at school? Your apology needs to go, I am so sorry. You do not deserve to be yelled at. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a really deep breath next time, and I really mucked up.
Yeah, I love that. I learned that before, something similar where it was I think it was a relationship book, and it was like, stop saying sorry and just say, yeah, I can understand how that would have made you feel.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It just changes everything.
Everything.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's not about you anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's about, I acknowledge what you're feeling, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Tell me about the course that's coming now and how people can join up to it and sign up. I'll be there because I'll be...
So I'm pretty much on all social platforms at Coach Mace EQ. And I've got a really brilliant workshop coming up called The Strong-Willed Child. That's the kid that gets the most attention and the most frustration from parents. And that's a topic really deep to my heart, because once we understand these children, they're the born leaders. They're the fierce, creative, adventurous ones, and we want them to keep that spark. We just need to teach them how to use that superpower of strong will, because stubbornness is strong will gone sour. So we want to learn more about that. All details are on my page. You can check out my website, coacheq.com.au. Thank you.
Dude, Are kids going to that course, or is it just for parents?
Only for parents.
Have
I
you
never
ever thought of doing the other way?
I
No,
never see children.
never.
That was my first million viewed reel. Fun fact is I do not see children. It's always a parent. It's never the child. I'll stick by that.
Because it's always our fault, guys. We need to fix up. We need to be better for these children.
I'm in the trenches too. I'm in the trenches. I'm going to
yeah.
get like, all these talkings to you as well.
No, dude, I love that. I learned so much today.
Thank
Honestly, thank
you.
you so much for coming. And I feel like we're going to have to get another one at some
for sure.
point. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
Loved it. Thanks for the chat.
We definitely need to do it again sometime. I feel like this is
Part one.
a 3-4 episode recurring guest, because
Done.
there's a lot to learn.
Done deal.
Yeah.
This is comfy. Next time I'll come in
It
like,
is, right?
cross
Just
my
come.
legs.
Yeah, get it
let's
done.
go.
I mean, and now that you told me, I can swear from the beginning it's going to be a whole different episode, the next one. There's nothing that you felt like we forgot, or anything that
I
you
think we
wanted to
covered
share?
so much, and they're all seeds for your listeners to take into. Don't diagnose yourself from a podcast.
Yeah.
Take it as a little seed and then go learn about it.
Yeah, but
Go
if there is any
expand.
other podcast that you can diagnose yourself for, just Jibber with Jabber, so you can use that. It's also been, Coach Maysaa who's approved this message. Have you written a book?
I haven't written a book yet.
So when her book comes out, we'll do episode 2 to promote the book. You're going to write a
Done.
book, right?
I hope so.
Plant the seed.
Manifestation.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
And you're welcome anytime. This is your house.
Thank you.
And I hope I get brownie points with my wife for this
Yes.
episode.
Thank you.
And yeah, man, it's been absolutely amazing. And we'll do it again
Same.
sometime.
Thanks.
Guys, I've been AJ. She's been Coach Maysaa.
Yeah.
Boom.